The narratives on Andreas Christensen contract situation are just everywhere. First, we heard that his representatives are in talks with Chelsea and that he is close to putting pen to paper for a new contract. And then it broke out that Andreas Christensen feels undervalued and as such may leave Chelsea Football Club. So, are there chances that Andreas Christensen will remain at Chelsea, or will he leave the club? Stay tuned to find out. Dan, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back.
Thank you. Always nice to talk football with you, and I'm glad you did find time to be here. So Dan, how did we get here? I mean, why did Chelsea leave it so late before, trying to get Christensen to put pen to paper for a new contract? It's a risk. Why leave it so late?
It's a tricky situation because if you actually have a look at Transfer Market, the website, Christensen's last contract extension was in January 2018, and he signed up until June 2022. So he signed basically a 4.5 year deal. So you're right in saying it's rather precarious that they would leave it to the last year of his contract to negotiate an extension, particularly given that he's playing at such an outstanding level. And appointed example of that is in the Champions League final, where he came on for Thiago Silva after this 36th, 37th minute, and you wouldn't even have known that there was a difference between Silva and Christensen. But I think as far as my football knowledge extends, often transfer deals and contract renegotiations are very sticky businesses, especially when a club and an agent or a player's representatives are haggling over fees. So as far as I've read and as far as I understand, this is not untoward, even if it is a little bit alarming. But the tough part for Chelsea fans is, of course, given that Andreas has come through Chelsea's academy and joined the club when he was very young, approximately 15 years old, it's a little bit disturbing to note that someone who has been a part of the Chelsea family for so long could potentially be let go for nothing.
Yeah, to me, it is really, really concerning that somebody like Andreas Christensen, who is Chelsea through and through, who we've all been, we've seen him, mature into, you could argue, a world-class central defender that he is today, and possibly the most, equipped to take over the mantle of that the mantle of leadership of our backline from Thiago Silva whenever he decides he's done his business at Chelsea and decides to leave. So I'm not sure why they left it so late. Hopefully it doesn't, the worst doesn't happen, which is him, Andreas Christensen, leaving Chelsea Football Club. So, but that's, by the way, the purpose of this video is to look at why, or maybe find reasons why we believe Andreas Christensen will sign a contract extension and remain at Chelsea. So Dan, I'm coming back to you. If you believe that there's still that possibility for Andreas Christensen to sign a new contract and remain at Chelsea, please tell us.
Yeah, I think there certainly seems to be, from everything that has come out in the press, there seems to be no doubt that Christensen's desire is to stay at Chelsea. And there was a quote that came from The Athletic, reported by, I think it's a Danish publication called Extra Bladet, where in September of 2021, this year, Christensen was said to say that he knows a lot is being said right now about his contract situation. Can't say too much, but he says he thinks it looks good. And he says he's very happy to be at Chelsea, and he feels that Chelsea is the right place to be in England. Now, something to remember is that Chelsea, as much as they have benefited from Christensen's playing ability and everything he's shown over the last 18 months to 2 years in the squad, Christensen himself has also benefited from being at Chelsea and being coached by world-class coaches and being essentially brought up and given the opportunity to play at this level. So this has been a very mutually beneficial relationship, and Christensen has a very deep connection with the club. He has a part London accent if you listen to it, and he has a very clear connection with a lot of players at Chelsea. So it's clear that his desire from what he said and from everything that's been communicated in the media, that he has every intention to stay at Chelsea. The reason it's taken so long is open to interpretation, but one would expect that it's perhaps to do with details in the contract. That's certainly what was put out in August, that there were finer details that still needed to be worked out, whether that's with relation to image rights or some financial implications or any kind of contractual clauses. Nobody really knows, but the expectation is that he will sign and stay at Chelsea.
Yeah, I hope that happens. Like we've established, she's actually the most equipped to take over the mantle of the leadership in our back line from Thiago Silva whenever he decides he's done at Chelsea. So, but that's, by the way, before we move on, I think there's something I actually wanted us to talk about before we progress into the video. The question is, if everything seemed right, just like you've presented, if everything is that is headed towards the right direction in terms of him putting pen to paper for a new contract and remain at Chelsea, how the rumors that he feels undervalued at Chelsea, any idea how that started? Because that's dangerous.
It is very dangerous, and I think if I'm to give an opinion, I will speculate based on what I've seen. So what you've got to understand is that every club in Europe has obviously got a defined wage structure where some players will earn more than other players. So it's an open secret that players like Kai Havertz and Timo Werner are new to Chelsea. You know, they've only been there just over a year now. And they earn a significant amount more than many players who have been there, like Christensen, for a very long time. So I would speculate, and I will stress that this is my own speculation, that these are some of the implications in a contract renegotiation, that players like Christensen and their representatives want to feel more valued by Chelsea, given the fact that they have served the club for longer, and they feel their role should be rewarded in a manner that's in keeping with other players, especially ones that haven't been at the club as long. So that's what I would assume is the reason why. I'm not necessarily saying that Christensen is asking for more money, but maybe there is some kind of reason that Christensen wants to feel more valued by Chelsea. Maybe it's a longer contract. It could be certain clauses in his contract that he wants to feel more valued, maybe a pathway to becoming club captain or having a leadership role in the team or something like that. Our players are often, they're just as smart as we are. You know, they don't live in a little bubble, and they have their own needs and desires like every human being. So I think from my own perspective, I would assume that this is more a case of Christensen wanting to feel a bit more valued by Chelsea and to feel like he is very much a part of the team, both financially and practically, and in the sense of just the whole value system, that he is very much front and center like all the other players.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did mention that, you know, his representatives and Christensen himself, you know, they feel like the club should do more to show that they value what he's done for the club, and he's, you know, that the truth is, like, that's important to all of us as humans. When we don't feel valued, we tend to like not give our best, but that hasn't been the case. He's always been a great professional. He's done well at the club, and he's you know, has continued to improve, most especially under Thomas Tuchel. So now, Dan, on a percentage scale, what are the chances that Andreas Christensen will sign a new contract at Chelsea?
If I had to apply a percentage to it, I would probably say, as I'm sitting here right now, based on what I've seen and read, 85%.
Did you say 55%?
85%.
85%. So that's a good chance that he remains at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, at 85%, I would say there's no need to panic. And the guy himself, if the situation is as bad as rumored, I think by now we would have known that really this guy may leave Chelsea soon. I mean, it's just a reactionary, let me say, behavior from the Chelsea content creators and also the media. But that's, by the way. So Dan, on the final note, before we round this video, which was designed to see a positive perspective and, try to find reasons or see reasons why Andreas Christensen will put pen to paper and remain at Chelsea. Can you explain again in a very clear statement why you think Andreas Christensen will put pen to paper and remain at Chelsea?
I think Andreas Christensen will stay at Chelsea because he loves Chelsea. He wants to be at Chelsea. He is Chelsea, and that is the club that he wants to be at. He believes that that's where his future lies, and I think it's only a matter of finer details that need to be ironed out before we see Christensen sign his new contract.
Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate you taking some time to do a research and to help the Chelsea fan base understand that Andreas Christensen is more likely to put pen to paper and remain at Chelsea than, as rumored, then he will leave Chelsea. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it's been an honor presenting this video with you. Thanks so much, my friend.
Always, anytime. It's been an honor. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you guys for watching, and please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and more importantly, click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything. Again, my name is Coachila and my guest Dan. See you guys next time. Cheers.